Welcome to the complete collection of Larry Bird's greatest stories. The first episode of this series was an episode on Kobe Bryant, the complete collection of Kobe Bryant's greatest stories. If you haven't seen it or you did miss the upload, feel free to watch it on the channel. But the amount of support on that video was incredible, and I really just want to thank all of you guys for that support. Kobe was someone who meant a lot to me, as he did for I'm sure all of you guys too, and hopefully that video did him justice. Today we're looking at Larry Bird's greatest stories, and because these videos take such a long time to make, the only thing that I ask is that if you enjoy this video, you can please hit that like button, subscribe if you do enjoy the videos because it does help my channel out, and also comment down below who would you like to see for episode 3. We've done Kobe, this is Larry Bird, which player should I do next? Without further ado, welcome to the complete collection of Larry Bird's greatest stories.
Well, you had the Bird night.
I had the Bird night. That was a tough night, man.
And he would tell you to play and catch it over there and shoot it.
Larry Bird, he was not a nice guy.
He talked to everybody. He was talking trash all the time, man, but fun.
And they called a timeout, and he turned around and looked at me and said, I'm going to score right here on you.
And he came back out and hit about 10 in a row on me, and the last one was left-handed, and he asked me if my mother was watching.
It just came out.
And we never shook hands for 13 years.
Well, you had the Bird night.
I had the Bird night. That was a tough night, man. The biggest argument that night is, well, you only scored 6 on me.
But nobody was guarding Bird, were they?
Well, we were trying.
You were trying to.
No, but when a guy is literally coming up the court, calling his shots, and Bird talked a lot of trash.
And that's in New Orleans.
That's in New Orleans.
You were playing the Hawks, and it was one of those times they were playing some home games down in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, I'll never forget that game. He was so hot, he started shooting threes with his left hand.
And it was in a neutral site, and I know that Larry was always telling the ball boys, hey, go find out the scoring record. As he was getting taped on the tape table, he would always say, hey, go find out the scoring record in this gym.
Going into that game, I thought there might be a ray of sunshine because one of the bellmen told me that he had heard that Larry and a couple of his teammates may have gotten in a little bit late the night before. So I was saying, hey, maybe Larry won't have a real good night.
Bird, the bomb. Bird, the fall away. Bird out of the left corner. The bomb is good.
To say that Larry had a hot hand is an understatement without question.
He was calling shots off the glass. Who's next? Where you want this one from? And he just made one after another. When he got to about the 55th point, you knew it was something special. Even as a player, and that usually doesn't happen, but we were down so much at the time, you had time to realize the game. And
we're on the free throw line, and he literally says, left side, across the 3, and you're listening to him. That's a tough feeling.
That was the one game that I think he tortured Dominique. He saw Dominique, this up-and-coming player, and he just tortured him mentally that game. He tortured all of them.
I mean, it was mind-blowing.
I think Bird went by the bench one time, too.
He fell in the bench.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, and he called that one. That was the one where he fell in it. He literally said, off the glass into the trainer. And, and so it was a bad night.
It's going to be a 3, and it's going to be awful decent. And then he said, who wants it? And I think Ricky Brown, I'm not for sure who it was, ran out after him. And he shot this high rainbow. It goes in. Ricky bumps into him and accidentally knocks him on our trainer's lap. So it was exactly what he said.
Antoine Carr and Cliff Levingston got fined by Fratello, I think.
And Eddie Johnson for celebrating.
Celebrating Bird.
Yeah, it was the best film session. Every time when I see Mike, we still laugh.
God,
it was
so good.
It was the greatest film session ever because back then you didn't have, you watched the real game and just went, with a video. And Mike rewound the celebration 20 times. He just kept, not the shot, he just kept rewinding it, showing the guys, you remember they were giving each other high five.
And then somebody falls off the bench,
too.
Yeah,
that was Eddie Johnson.
Yeah.
Eddie Johnson falls off the bench in laughter.
I mean, everybody was entertained by this. Even
That's one
the guys
on
on
five.
the guys on the Atlanta
They
bench.
got fined for that, I heard.
Yeah, watch the reactions on the Atlanta bench. You see Scotty Hastings
up there
with them.
laughing. Yeah, when you get
now watch Cliff Livingston over here. I think this is Cliff.
And our film session was 20 minutes of that.
Larry, put on a show that night. And I mean, just to get the whole Atlanta bench going crazy on some of the shots that he was making down the stretch is a pretty good indication. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before.
And we never shook hands for 13 years.
You at the three-point competition, walking in the locker room, who's playing? Did you really say that? Who's playing for second?
Yeah, I did. I sort of felt bad.
Yeah, when you walked in and asked who was going to get second place in the three-point contest, when you walked in there, what were you thinking when you made that announcement to the room? Just messing with all those guys like you always did.
Yeah,
with everybody?
I didn't. I had no clue. I never really practiced. Me and Danny used to shoot some before we went out there. Everybody's sitting there. Everybody's real quiet. You really didn't. You knew the guys, but you never were around them.
Three-point contest at the All-Star break, and Larry walks in and says, "I hope all you guys in here are thinking about second place because I'm winning this." Excuse me?
Who were some of the guys? Who were some of the guys in the competition at that time when you walked in? Who was in that field?
Come
on, Coach. You know.
No, I don't really remember.
Dell Ellis.
Yeah, Dell. What's
Hodges?
the kid that's Yeah, Hodges.
Leon Wood.
And I'm sitting there with one of my teammates, Leon Wood. It was a great three-point shooter. Larry Bird comes in last.
And nobody's really saying anything, so I walk in and look around, and it just came out.
He says,
"Who's coming in second?" You already know who's going to win this.
It was so quiet. And after that, I said, oh, man, these guys ain't got no chance.
And I got lucky because I almost got beat in the first round.
But what was the reaction after you said that? Like, oh, that's just Larry Legend, or did it get dead silence in there?
It was silence. I think they were a little nervous.
I like it.
I think they were nervous. I had no clue I was going to win it. But that's just part of the competition.
There you see Larry finishing off. Look at that smooth rhythm. The shot, one step back, pick it up, the shot. Back and forth. He is like a machine, and the results are almost like a machine.
He ain't took off his top yet. I didn't see when he took off his top. It's hard to shoot out the Bird just made 23.
And then the walk off with your hand up. I mean, come on, Coach. Come on.
Well, I was struggling in that final round in Chicago. I know that. And I just got hot there the last 2.5 racks. When you're shooting them, you don't know what the score is.
Right.
But I had a feeling by the way the crowd was going, I had to make the last one. And when I let it go, I felt it. Sometimes you shoot them, you think they're going in, they don't. But that one there looked perfect all the way. So if it would have bounced out, I would have felt like an idiot.
Well,
but it went in. I got lucky and got the check and went home.
Larry Bird at the buzzer with the two-point ball. 17-15 defends the long-distance shootout crowd at Chicago Stadium.
He and Ainge, I think, were both in the three-point contest together, and Larry won the contest. And then one day we got on the bus, and we were on the bus for a few minutes, and Larry said to Ainge, he goes, "Hey, Danny," and Danny goes, "Yeah, Larry." He goes, "Who's the three-point king?"
Larry Bird, he was not a nice guy.
Back then when we flew commercial, we didn't fly private. We played in a Tuesday night game in Cleveland.
Matter of fact, there was one game in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, and he told me where he was going and where he was going to shoot.
Nah, I won't hear about it.
Okay.
I won't hear about it.
It was 91-92 season, and we was playing the Boston Celtics. It was Bird, McHale, Parrish, the great three, Ainge, and we was up 1. Okay.
Where he was having a pretty rough first half, and in the old days in Cleveland, you walked off the court the same way at halftime, and I kind of puffed up on him and walked beside him and was like, "Yeah, you're 1 for 10." I was like, "That's defense, and he just kind of looked at me and said, "There's 2 halves." And he came back out and hit about 10 in a row on me.
And we was up 1, okay? He said, who's guarding me as we come out of timeout? Now, remember, I'm a rookie because Price is out because he hurt.
Right.
He says, who's guarding me? I says, Craig Elo. He says, why you got that white boy on me? Don't put no white boy on me.
He said that was the most.
Now remember, Larry Bird is white.
Right.
And the last one was left-handed, and he asked me if my mother was watching.
I think the story that sums up Larry the best was we had a game on Wednesday night in New Jersey. Snowstorm hits Cleveland. We're at the airport at 7 in the morning. Flight's canceled at 7. It's canceled at 8. It's canceled at 9. It's canceled at 10. Canceled at 11, 12. We finally leave about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. We fly up to New Jersey. Now the storm has kind of moved into Jersey. And the bus driver says, well, I can't get to the hotel into the arena. I can only go to one place. Well, we had a game that night. We go to the arena. So we get to the arena, and I mean, we're dragging. And we're sitting around the locker room, and, and everybody's kind of, we're tired. And, and all of a sudden, the coach gives a little bit of a speech of, come on, man, guys, we're playing basketball. Let's get ready to go. And Larry stands up, and Larry says, a couple other few choice words, and he says, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take it out on their rear ends. So I was like, oh, all right, so let's go. So we go on the floor. Elbert King sitting there. Larry walks up to Elbert King and goes, don't take this butt whooping personally. I've been eating hot dogs all day. And then Elbert King looks at him like, you've been eating hot dogs all day? What's that got to do with me? And we went out and just hammered him. I mean, we terrorized them. And that was Larry. There was no excuses. I mean, he just played. And I tell you, that was just his competitive nature. But a day when you fly all day and eat hot dogs in the airport, best thing was Elbert's look on his face like, what hot dogs got to do with me?
I still love the Xavier McDaniel story.
Anybody better than Larry Bird?
No, Larry's probably the best trash talker. And the best thing about Larry now, he's so buttoned down now. He's just like, I didn't do that. Man, that guy lies. He was the best trash talker. And he denies everything.
Can you tell a Larry story? I haven't heard much of him, any stories about him talking trash, and he's so quiet.
Yes.
Just every other time, and I never got to play on the court or see. But can you tell a story like something you
I'd say
remember?
there's a million of them, but one of my favorite ones is we're playing Phoenix and we're way ahead, okay?
The Celtics were playing the Suns, and
we're down in the old Saddle Dome that they had outside.
Right.
And Larry, we're playing good as a team. Larry has the worst fourth quarter known to man. I mean, he's throwing the ball to the other team. I'm like, good Lord, we had like a 15-point lead. Next thing you know, we're down 2. And I'm like, how in the world are we going to lose this game?
So we have a play, out of bounds play. I'm taking it out, and Larry says, I'm going to bust off the play, and I'm just going to come out, and I'm going to shoot a 3. And I'm like,
and Larry says, I'm going to bust the play. I'm going to shoot a 3. And I'm like, Bertie, let's just get into overtime. I'm throwing to Robert. Robert, we need to get into overtime, man. Try to get this ship right because we're sinking, man. I tell you right now.
Celtics are down by 2 points, and Bird is out by the 3-point line, and he's being guarded by a guy named Johnny High. And Johnny High is sort of backing away from Bird, and Bird says, hey, Johnny, you better come up and guard me a little closer. I'm just going to get the ball and shoot a 3, and the game's over.
Larry not only tells me that, he walks by the bench and says, typical Birdie, just real slow.
so he tells the Phoenix bench, he tells the coaches, yeah, I'm just fixing to bust a 3 on you guys and just go home. I'm tired of this.
Fixing to bust a 3 on your guys and go home.
And, Johnny High sort of smiles and laughs about it.
And so he breaks the play.
And then the ball comes into Bird. He just turns around and shoots a perfect 3.
Shoots the ball. As the ball's in the air, he kind of turns towards the Phoenix bench and yells, told you so. He stops running to the locker room.
Larry hits it. He looks at the bench and goes, told you so.
Unreal, man. As he's walking off, he puts an arm on Johnny High's shoulder and he goes, Johnny, I told you to come out and guard me.
That was Birdie. And he had the confidence, man. That dude had so much confidence. He talked to the coaches. He talked to everybody. He was talking trash all the time, man. But fun. Great competitor, man.
And I just started laughing. I was like, oh, man. It's just one of those ones where you just kind of, he has such supreme confidence. And it was just, but that's the one when you were back in and Larry went in and said, well, I won the game in the first 3 quarters, then I lost it in the third quarter, or the fourth quarter, excuse me. Then I won it at the end. He goes, my record tonight is 2-1. We all just kind of laughed.
Bird used to tell people, I remember he told me a story about Xavier McDaniel. He said,
The X-Man, yeah.
X, I'm going to get the ball right here. I'm going to shoot a jumper right in your face.
It was a tie game. They had the ball, and DJ was stalling the basketball. And Larry was kind of standing outside behind him, like denying him the ball. And they called a timeout, and he turned around and looked at me and said, I'm going to score right here on you. And I said, I know you will. I'll be ready.
Tie game, 13 seconds to play. Celtics basketball.
During the timeout, I'm going through a play, and about that time, Larry steps in and says, Coach, why don't you just give me the ball and tell everybody to get out of the way? That's Larry. And when he wants the ball, he wants the ball. After the timeout, we walked back on the court, and then Xavier was guarding him. So he tells Xavier, he says, I'm getting the ball.
And Larry said, I'm going to get it right here, Ed, and I'm going to shoot it in your face. He hit it and looked at me, and he was like, damn. I didn't mean to leave nothing on the clock. He shot a shot right in my face. I just looked back, and the ball just went in, hit all net. And he said, I told you so. And, he was like, I didn't mean to leave 2 seconds on the clock. He wanted to shoot it with 0 seconds on the clock. I walked back to the sideline like, damn.
Now, a lot of people don't know this. You probably know this, Dan, but Larry Bird was one of the biggest trash talkers in basketball. And a lot of people say, really? They thought it was Reggie or Charles. Larry Bird talked more trash on the basketball court than anybody I've ever played against. And he told me 2 things one game. Our rotations, double teaming Kevin McHale, always had to rotate to the corner, and Larry Bird was the one shooting it. So he shot one, and I'm trying to block this shot, and he would just tell me, Scott, you're a little too late. A little too late. So we playing him. In the last play, he says to James Worthy, he says, you guys don't have to worry about it. I'm going to go right over there that corner. He said, they're going to set a screen for me. We're taking the ball out. He said, I'm going to curl right over. And he's telling us to play. He's telling us to play before they even take it out. He said, I'm going to go right over to that corner, and I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to shoot it, and I'm going to tie the game or win the game, whatever the case may be. They take the ball out, and I think it was either Danny or
DJ,
the late, great DJ.
Yeah.
Take the ball out, the man curl right to the corner, caught the shot, shot a 3, game over. It's like, are you effing kidding me? It's my Larry Bird story.
Go to shake his hand. I'm a rookie. I'm playing against the Boston Celtics in the Boston Garden. I go shake, and Larry put both hands behind his back. He wouldn't shake my hand. I said, okay, he's just getting into the game. In the first play of the game, he said, you don't even belong in the league, Holmes. And he shoots a 3. Now, I wasn't mad that he made the 3. But I said, did this some bitch just called me Holmes? and he came down and did it again, so I'm pissed, So the next time down, see me on the breakneck pitch, and I jump up and I throw it down on him, right? He fouls me. And he said, hey, Rook, I like you. You got heart. He said, I like you. You got heart. But I'm still getting 30 on you tonight. But I'm still getting 30 on your ass. I mean, that's who he was.
Didn't Bird shoot left-handed for an entire game against Portland?
Larry told all of us and the media, he said, tomorrow night's the last game of the trip. I'm going to play this one left-handed.
I remember because I was there, and it was at a time when, McHale was still coming off the bench. And so he scored the first 8 points of the game left-handed, and Jerome Kersey was guarding him at the time, and I remember this because we had a great trash-talking team. We had ML Carr, we had McHale, we had Bird, we had Ainge was a yacker. We had guys with great creativity with that, and I'll never forget it. McHale yells out, "Hey Jerome, wait till you start shooting right-handed." But look, you're talking about one of the great, obviously great players, great competitors, but Bird was a great artist too.
Who's got Larry Bird stories?
Brad Daugherty told me this story when he was like second year in the league and they were in the playoffs against the Celtics. Down 1, Larry Bird catches the ball in the deep corner and he steps back for a 3. And before he takes the 3, he's like, oh wow, he's going for the win. He's not going for the tie.
Larry Bird catches the ball in the corner. I take off running out at Larry Bird. And right when he's getting ready to shoot, I jump.
And he head fakes him.
And as I go by, him, he tells me, he says, fly, Bird.
And as he head fakes him, now it's 3-2, he hits him on the butt with the ball. And then he shoots it at the buzzer. And the confidence that hit him on the butt as he flew by him trying to block a shot.
And I go right by him, he shoots the ball, it's nothing but nylon.
I remember the time when Larry got on the roll, started shooting the ball, every shot was going in.
Goodbye, she's gone. I guess the 2-pointer was too close.
And when he runs by the bench, he goes, that's a heat check. Just see how hot I am. All right, he runs by Frank Layden, who's the funniest guy in the league. And Frank is coaching, and Larry says to him, hey, Frank, don't you have anybody on that bench that can guard me? He goes, so nobody out here can. Frank looked down at the bench and goes, no.
Beyond an acute awareness of his own commercial potential, Bird waged psychological warfare at the drop of a ball.
The '84 Olympic team was playing an exhibition game against a bunch of pros, including Larry Bird, and they were in the warm-ups. And a ball bounced down from the college end of the court to the pro end. And Michael Jordan went down to chase it. The ball happened to be picked up by Larry Bird. And Michael went up a few feet away from Larry Bird and held out his hands. And Bird took the ball and fired it back down the court over Jordan's head, as if to say, you're not only not getting this ball, I don't give a damn who you are. Larry Bird knows exactly who this guy is and what's going to happen in the next few years. And he wants to get every edge he can get right now.
But Bird didn't talk trash to you,
Oh,
did
my God. Bird talked trash to everybody.
But didn't he? Did he get to a point where he had respect for you?
I always tell this story about Larry Bird. I remember him, he was cursing under his breath. And I asked him, I said, Larry, what's going on with you? He says, you guys are being disrespectful to me. And I says, what are you talking about? He says, you guys are putting a white guy on me. That's disrespectful.
Wait, who's the white guy you put on him?
I can't remember who it was. I just started laughing. I had no comeback when he says, it's disrespectful when y'all put a white guy on me.
Here he was out there with a quarter of black guys out there talking trash with him, and the rest of the fellas are sitting there going, hey, the boy bad, what can you say?
I remember we were playing Washington in Washington one night, and Larry just hit what would have been the game-winning shot, but KC called timeout.
It won't count. It does not count. Boston had called a timeout.
Larry came back to the bench, and he was a little upset. He looks at the bench and says, hey guys, when I come back after timeout, I'm going to go right to the same spot, and I'm going to kick it in. He told Washington, I'm going to get the ball.
2 seconds left. The Bullets by 1. Aims to Bird. He gets a good shot in the Celtics winner. Boy, this is something else. Incredible. And Bird wins it at the buzzer.
How many people you know would talk to the other team like this and say, I'm going to stick it in your face?
In last year's playoffs, Person was out to make Bird eat his words while adding a few choice comments of his own.
First time I touched the ball, my very first game, he said, shoot the ball, rookie. Shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. I said, okay, I'll shoot it. Wow, like that, and it went in. And I said, don't ever tell me to shoot the ball. I shoot it every time. And from then on, it's been a battle from the last 6 years.
Chuck Person, he definitely has his reputation. During the playoffs, he just went AWOL.
Chuck and Larry down low, greeting one another once again.
Bird. Oh, he has caught fire. Person. And had something to say afterwards. And look at Bird. Person didn't dare look at him.
Yeah, it is a little special because I've known Chuck for a while, and we've always had run-ins, but it always seems like I get the last word.
And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and you would like to help the channel out, please hit that like button to show your support. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoy these types of videos. There will be a lot of videos coming out shortly, similar to this one. And comment down below a player that you would like to see an episode of this series on. Lastly, here are 2 videos I think you would really enjoy. And with that said, it's been your boy Nick Smith. I am out. Peace.